Honestly, I don't think my heart can take any more Jenna Julien updates because at this rate, I'm getting sadder and sadder by the day. Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're talking about Jenna and Julien, and I'm very sad. Let's get that out of the way. So, if you know anything about Jenna and Julien, they have a lot of things that they do together, business-wise. They have their Twitch stream, they have their podcast, they have both of their channels, which they very often collaborated on videos together, and they were very much a brand, Jenna Julien, and we loved it. So whenever Jenna Marbles announced that she was going to be stepping back from social media, it led a lot of questions that were left unanswered. And from a fan's point of view, I love both of these people so much, my favorite creators. I had a lot of questions myself, but I also didn't want to overstep that boundary of wanting answers whenever we weren't owed answers. But it was very much so a drop thing on us that Jenna was going whenever the week prior we got a video, so it was kind of like, you know what I mean? No one expected it, so that's why everyone has a lot more questions than if this was something we all saw coming. So Jenna announced she was leaving her channel. I have a video crying about that on my channel. Embarrassing. So over the course of the past few weeks, we've seen their sub companies being postponed or being put in a new direction. Julien did a Twitch stream in which he said he would be officially taking over the Twitch stream and it would now be renamed from Jenna Julien to Julien. I have a video going through that on my channel, but we have another update. So the Jenna Julien podcast is now fucking gone. We can't have shit in this house. I'm so upset. Before I get into it and what was talked about in their video, they came back for one last podcast. It was like 6 minutes long, so it wasn't, you know what I mean, just like a video. And it is the first time we're hearing Jenna Marbles' voice since that video. And hearing her voice and hearing that she was doing okay just made my heart melt because I fucking love this girl. But there's like a 5-second part that I want to show you, and it's the last ever part from any podcast we're ever gonna get. And it's them saying goodbye, and it's so bittersweet, and it's just so like, I can't handle it. Listen to this. So it's called The Final Podcast. It's a 6-minute and 26 long video. No visuals, just talking. I'll get into it. And this is how they leave it. This is the official end of the Jenna Julien podcast, and this is probably the last time we're ever gonna hear Jenna's voice in a long time. This is it. This is like really bittersweet. Listen to this.
Yeah. Thank you for a great podcast. GG's. GG's. Alright, bye guys.
Bye.
I don't want to fucking... This is all so much. That's it. That's how they ended it. Like, I don't know how else they could have ended it, but I just didn't want it to be that, like, bye. Like, fuck. Now let's get into what they actually talked about, but whenever I tell you that my heart literally broke when I watched this video, I could hear it fucking snap in half. Not only do I love Jenna and Julien, their podcast was such a distraction for me on really tough times, and I remember when I was going through exam season last year, I relied on their podcast a lot to get me through really dark times. So the fact that that's now something we're never gonna get again is like fucking... So Jenna actually starts talking first, and she says that she hasn't been on the internet for a while, which we're all aware of, and she wanted to come on with Julien and let everyone know that this is the official end of the Jenna Julien podcast, but if she thinks about it enough that she will cry, or looking at Julien, she will cry. So, because this was just their logo, we don't know if they were facing each other or looking away, so she's saying if she would even look in Julien's face while talking about this, she would cry, and it's just like... You know this is hard for them as well, and I genuinely believe that it is. It's not like a bullshit, like, YouTuber being like, oh, I'm really sad, like... I felt it. Oh, I just love them. And then Jenna goes on to say that thank you so much for all your support over the years. It's been a long time, and this stream has been going on for a while, and it's been the source of so much laughter and happiness for her, and so much joy and so many happy memories, and she's so happy that the Dink fam were there with her. This makes me so sad because this was the one YouTuber community I fell a part of in terms of the Dink fam. Ugh. She then goes on to say that all good things have to come to an end, but maybe in the future Julien and her can do something else, and it's like, this was the mentality that I had when she first did her video. I was like, yeah, maybe she'll come back in a couple months. I think, you know, as this time is going on, we're realizing that that's something that's never gonna happen. And that's okay, we're not owed anything. But just the fact that she's like, maybe in the future me and Julien can do something again. It's like, this is rough. I really hope they're both doing okay. Separately, but also together. Like, this is a lot to go through. And I hope they're not putting too much pressure on themselves. And then Julien just went, yep, the podcast is goodbye. And I was like, boy, Let me process it before you say statements like that. And then Julian says, thanks to everyone who spent time watching and everyone in the Dink fam when the podcast was smaller and when it was bigger. And Julian also said that this podcast has been his happiness. And I do feel really sad as well that they are stepping away from this, because it was something that brought them so much joy as well. And even from like taking it away from us and taking the selfish factor away from how sad we feel about it, it was also something that they seemed to really enjoy. It was one of the podcasts that I genuinely enjoyed, because they seemed like they were having such fun. So, you know what I mean? Like, they can just have conversations at the dinner table and it's the same as having a podcast, and we're just not there to experience it. So, I mean, there's a lot of different perspectives for this. And Julian said that the podcast has spanned over a long time and so much time of his life and different phases of his life, and it's just really hard to say goodbye. And it's like, I genuinely think it would have hurt less if they just stopped uploading podcasts, you know what I mean? But hearing them address it like this is like putting ice on a wound, you know what I mean? Like an open wound. The wound is already fucking open from Jenna Marbles, the mother of YouTube, leaving, and then them doing all this with the podcast and the Twitch stream is kind of just like putting salt on it, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not here for it. But I respect them. A lot. And I trust their judgment with everything as well. Then they said that the more they sit down and talk, the messier it gets. Now, I didn't know if they were talking about the podcast in general, like the more they sit down and do these, the messier it gets, or the more they're sitting down for this video talking about it. So I didn't know what they meant by that, but I still wanted to include that. Just so you can have your own say in that, you know, because I really don't know what they were referring to. And again, they just said that this is the biggest heartfelt thank you to everyone. It's just like, still, to this day, they're being so grateful and gracious and thanking their audience, and it's just like... And Julian sounded so emotional, and that's what was setting me off the edge. I was tearing up so much, and I was like, you know what, I can't cry, I need to film this video. But he sounded so sad, and you could tell that he was crying because his voice was like whimpering, and it really just made me so fucking sad, because they've been through so much recently with having to address things in terms of, yeah, the Twitch stream isn't going to be coming back. Yeah, Julian had to address the fact that he's now changing the name over, and so there's a lot of pressure on them right now, and so the fact that he's still going through these emotions and stuff, it's just like, And so I don't know if you're aware, but the Jenna Julian podcast was always both of them sitting down every week or so and doing a podcast. But after Jenna did her video, maybe like 3 weeks later, Julian started doing podcasts. I think he did maybe 5 total. And while I love Julian, the vibe was a bit off from them, and you can't blame him for that, like, you know what I mean. And he even addressed that in this video. He said, I did some solo podcasts, but it's time to end this. And then Jenna said that we wanted to come on and let you hear our voices, and that everyone's been so respectful of me. And then she went on to say that it's also my responsibility as well as Julian, and that she couldn't have just pushed Julian to be like, go on and make a video saying that the podcast is ending because it's both of theirs. And it's like, the fact that she's breaking her silence right now to come back on and do this as well is like, it shows how much she cares for not only the audience, not only the podcast, but also Julian. And it's just like, damn, I love these people. And then Jenna's voice starts whimpering too, and you could tell that she was crying, and it was just like, you know what, I'm fucking gamed out, get that fire exit door, I'm out of here, because this is way too much for my heart to handle on this Monday night. Wow, I really don't know my times and my days. This quarantine got me fucked up. They said though that they are not going to be deleting the channel and all the podcasts can be watched, so at least we have that. And that the Dink fam, their fandom, is not dying, it's just in a new spot. And that Julian still enjoys all the time in the company with everyone. And he always says this, and he's like, if you still want to stick around, like, I'd appreciate it. And it's like, I don't understand in that fandom if you're only there for Jenna, you know what I mean? Like, Julian, of fucking course we're here for you. I fuck with Julian so much. And then they just, like, say to each other that they love each other so much, and it's like... And then Jenna ends it by saying that she has a million things to say, but she wants the audience to know that she's getting help and just being a person. But she appreciates all the love, and it's just like, I can't, like... I really wish them the best, and it's like, they have so many things together that they have to like publicly close down, and it makes me sad that they can't just, you know, go away for a bit and only focus on themselves, that they have to address these things, and it's just like, I feel really bad, and it's just, it makes me really sad that, you know, it's just so fresh for them as well, because Jenna started crying and Julian started crying, it's just like, as a fan, it's like, how do you react to this? It's really sad, and not only have we lost Jenna, like the podcast too, and the Twitch stream, and it's like, I think it puts into perspective as well whenever you see all these new influencers and these new TikTokers who are now at the top, where Jenna was, retrospectively, if you look on like TikTok to YouTube, and it's like, damn, this is what the content is now. It's that, over Jenna playing with her dogs and doing podcasts with Julian, and it's just... it's icky. And it makes you feel really shitty. I just fucking miss them. I love them. I hope they're doing okay. It was so nice hearing Jenna's voice and hearing that she's doing okay and that she's getting help and that she's just being a person. And it's like, that's what you want to hear. And it's just like, guys, what's your opinion on this? And I think they have officially shut down everything that they have together. Jenna's channel is gone, the Twitch stream is gone, and the podcast is gone. Other than that, they just had merchandise together, but that was gone ages ago. So it's like, that's it. This is probably the last Jenna update we're gonna get in a long time. I could cry. Bye! How do I end this video happy? You know what I mean? Bye bye! Like, no.